Shabbat shalom, bitch. A lot of you have many questions, probably, including timer right here. Each timer is the amount of time that I cannot get back from my life. My life was made objectively worse for having to film the cuties film. What you want is a review, comprehensive and detailed. You're not going to get one. Where do I even begin? Well, I'll start by saying this. If you don't want to hear any of the things that I say and hope that you hear something that possibly disgusts you, allow this to be your TLDR of the entire experience. If all you feel is hatred, rage, and pain, like I do, then that will be explanation enough for what I actually have to say. Because this is not going to be a long one, because I don't want to talk about it any longer than 10 minutes. For the rest of you who are cruel enough to watch a man broken recount the violence that has been inflicted upon his eyes, have fun. Where do I begin? Where do I even fucking begin? I suppose if you want to have a proper in-depth coverage, as in-depth as it's gonna get, on the topic and problem of what exactly cuties represents, I would suggest watching Fat Otaku's video on it. If you have no reference for what I'm talking about, I suggest right here looking at my pre-watch coverage of this insanity. After that, I suppose the first thing I can start by saying is that if the question you have is, how did we get here? Well, I'll tell you. The film Cuties is what happens when a company like Netflix has no production standard and makes no reasoning for why they allow themselves to make such garbage. Do you remember that fucking dumbass woke comedians show, The Patriot Act, and how they were sanctioned and punished by the Qatari government and censored by the Qatari government, or was it the Saudi crown? Honestly, view it as the same thing. I don't fucking care what you have to say about that there. But the event encouraged Netflix to make a very interesting take as a defense against the dark art of theological censorship. And that was the article right here. I've mentioned this article many times before when I've made videos criticizing the efficacy of live streaming and stream production content. This is an article where, in no plain terms, Netflix announces that we are not in the business of speaking truth to power. We are an entertainment company. Now, what does that really mean when it comes down to it? Well, basically what it means is that Netflix will have the ability to allow shows like Cursed, allow shows like Netflix Switcher, allow shows like NetNote. They'll allow for shit pieces of production, things that actually could be considered as something that is a red pill fantasy of a pipeline of the alt right. Allow for low quality shows or outright bullshit to be put onto the streaming service, or worse, in the case of something that they're licensing, not have the time to actually license some of the most iconic music that is necessary for something like Neon Genesis Evangelion and a bunch of other things that are just shitting the bed in terms of entertainment. Reboots, originals, ported content, the kind of shit that comes from cable, the kind of shit, not like Lucifer, for example, something that they get the rights on and actually make better because they're actually able to get something out of it after it's been let go by the networks, and they pick it up and renovate the entire idea. They make it better. They start taking out the flanderizations. They take out the usual issue of like lazy writing and low entertainment quality standard. You know, the kind of shit you expect from the CW, which is funny considering that a lot of the shit that they actually happen to have a license of restreaming is shit made by the CW. They're allowed to do all that because they're not a political activist company. They will make content just to make content, right? And then you think about all of the pedo shit that is actually on Netflix. I'm talking about the drag kids, I'm talking about the fucking drag kid competitions, and now this, now this dog shit. By no means should you be surprised by what I'm saying to you, but the thing that should shock you is what I'm about to say next. Cuties is a film made by a French person that, at every single point and moment as I was watching it, made me ask the question, why the fuck does this exist? And why the fuck did you make this like this? The film itself is so laudably bare bones. From beginning to end, every single set piece, because these are all feel like they were set pieces, every single set piece of all the disgusting shit that you've seen, that you either saw me post clips that I felt comfortable putting up on my Twitter, that was all put together with this glue of this supposed story of a girl trying to rebel against her Islamic religion, right? An Islamic girl that just moved to France or has been living in France and is Muslim, going through a rebellious phase because she becomes hyper focused and thus focused on hypersexualizing herself throughout the course of the film, where set pieces are essentially like she's being possessed by the spirit of Hoochie Mama Hold'em. And the thing that doesn't make this work is that every single time we see these scenes, there's three things that are apparent. One, that Ami has no fucking drive of her own. Two, when Ami does the dumb shit that she does it with a quality of possessive mind, as though she is being compelled to do this. And then the dumbstruck look on her face as shit's happening around her. It doesn't matter if it's the beginning of the film, where she starts off by stealing some prayer beads that somebody left on the ground when she's taken to prayer, or if it's stealing her cousin's phone, or trying to seduce said cousin to let her keep the phone by trying to strip for him. At all points of this film, no matter what fucking thing is happening, most especially the case of the large set, heavy set girl, Yasmin, being pushed into the fucking river, where if this was a darker film, if this was made like it was, which is like a horror film, we try to understand what the fuck's going on through her mind. But all of this is set to the pace of her further falling down this wormhole of hers by constantly sexualizing herself and learning the steps and all that shit. And then by the end of the film, we're supposed to get that the message is that she's just forgiven for all the shit that she's done, including selling her friends up the river. All of this shit is put together in such a way that somebody was able to justify its existence. Niggas defended this shit. This film is shit. Don't let your kids watch it. If you do, I will go to your home and I will beat the shit out of you. In Minecraft. But yeah, don't let your kids watch it. Just Just don't. Don't waste $9 like I had to. Get the fuck out of my house.